For those of you who own a gun store, this update has some really great features. I'm just going to highlight a few of them. So, first and foremost, we are going to make it obvious when there's any missing acquisition information. Again, this shouldn't happen, but if data was imported and it was missing some information, it's a quick way that you can see all of the different missing information so you can go back to your bound book and clean it up. Now, another really exciting feature, if I go in and create a new bound book record, we had a done button here before, and sometimes people would hit it by mistake before entering the acquisition information. Well, at this point, I can actually add a new firearm that I'm going to go ahead and acquire. And got all information here. So you'll notice that now it just says next. That way it takes me right to the acquisition information. Won't let me complete. It's asking me if I want to update inventory. I'll go ahead and say yes. And I can enter my acquisition information, who I received it from. And in this case, I'll just receive it from Sport South. And at this point I can hit save. Now, if I didn't enter that information when you hit save, it would immediately warn you. So it's a minor little fix, but what we're trying to do is avoid any potential instance of making a mistake or forgetting to enter information. Everyone's busy, so mistakes always happen. You'll notice over here it is now defaulting the date, and we're ready to go. So I've got my new bound book record, and it takes me right to the disposition. But of course, I'm not ready to dispose, so I'll just hit the link, and I've acquired that specific firearm. Let me go ahead and clear my search, and you'll see here that this is the firearm that I just acquired. So a few other things that I want to point out, and they're pretty major. In the sales screen, when I go to sell a firearm, let's go ahead and I'll just enter this Taurus curve, and I know I just acquired this particular serial number. You'll notice we changed where the serial numbers appear, and not only that, we've got a link right to the bound book, which is awesome. So this will open the bound book record. It actually opens it up in a new tab, and I can quickly jump in if I want to review any information. So we connected the two. Obviously, it's awesome to have a fully integrated system, and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to operate that. So we've got all of that information. Now the really neat thing is, let's go ahead and enter a customer. And I'm not going to use any points. Again, if I happen to just say, okay, they're paying me cash, I'm going to complete this transaction. We have a separate video on this, but I just want to emphasize that we do have the ability to warn or even to prevent the sale from happening, because there is no corresponding 4473. And specifically, we have no proceed on this particular firearm. So it will stop me with a warning, but you can actually put a hard stop on it. So that prevents any mistakes. All right, let's go back. And actually, instead of going back, let me just go ahead and suspend this with a 4473. So now the customer can go and fill out their 4473. And let's go ahead and I'll just say new sale. So at this point, if we bring back the transaction, right, so we'll go to suspended sales, and we'll unsuspend this latest transaction, you'll immediately see that it shows me the 4473 number that was assigned. So as you can see, the actual record shows the bound book ID and the 4473 ID. So if you have to jump to the 4473, you don't have to go and look for it. You can simply click it, and it will open right up to that 4473 record. So that's a really powerful feature, and it's right here. You'll see that the whole serial number section has been updated. So we're super excited about this. Makes it a lot easier. And you'll notice we also have a dispose button here. Now, you may be wondering, why is there a dispose button there? It disposes when you're completing a transaction. But there are situations where you may want to dispose before you complete the transaction. And I'll give you a specific example of that is if you have a sales order with multiple items and only one item came in and the customer wants to pick it up. So you don't want to complete the entire transaction, but you still need to dispose that particular item. Now, another really neat feature that relates to this dispose button is the ability, if you're doing a trade-in or if you're simply someone's coming in with a firearm or doing a return and you're putting this quantity at a -1. So at this point, again, you might be doing a trade-in where they're trading in their gun, but they're not buying another gun. They're buying another gun, but they're putting it on layaway. So you can't complete the transaction, and of course you can ring it up as two different transactions, but that's extra steps, and we hate extra steps and we hate complexity. So what you can do is just when you're doing that trade-in, and actually I'll just show it to you on the trade-in screen as opposed to just entering something manually. But this is how a return works, and I could just hit acquire, and that would acquire that particular firearm directly from this particular customer, and it will do it instantly, which is really powerful. So the same thing, if I'm entering a trade-in, and let's say we are going to put this whole order on layaway, let's go ahead and just search for an item. So we'll grab this Taurus, and we'll just go ahead and I'll take the defaults of the cost, and I'll put in a serial number, and I'll hit save. So at this point, again, this trade-in, if I'm not completing the transaction, I can just hit acquire, and you'll see that the minute I acquire, it's literally puts it right on the bound book, shows you it's in stock. So powerful, so exciting. Some of these things we actually do, and then we scratch our heads and think, wow, why didn't we think of this sooner, or why didn't we do it this way sooner? But a lot of times, even what's in front of you, you don't realize the most obvious things. So hopefully everyone on this that's watching this video is as excited as I am. This is going to be a massive improvement to everyone's workflow, and just being able to see all of the information in one place in terms of your firearm, your bound book record, your 4473 record, just makes it a whole lot easier. So we're really excited about this. Thank you for watching this video.